In the stillness of the moonlit night, a scream pierced the royal compound. Then, silence. All the servants froze. Even the owls seemed to hold their breath. What could make Queen Abeni scream like that? And where was her maid? Long ago, in the Kingdom of Azora, there ruled a queen known across the valleys and mountains for her unmatched beauty and deadly temper. Queen Abeni wore gold like second skin, and her words could either raise a peasant to nobility or send a noble to the executioner's blade. But behind her fearsome blare and jeweled throne stood one woman who saw the queen not as a lioness, but as a wounded bird, her maid, Ao. Ao was a small, quiet girl with eyes that watched more than they spoke. She had been with Queen Abeni since childhood, serving not just as maid but confidant, companion, and secret keeper. And it was Ao alone who knew of the strange mirror room beneath the palace. It was there, every seventh night, that Queen Abeni would vanish for an hour alone. And return pale, as if she'd been wrestling with spirits. One evening, curiosity overtook Ao. The queen had left her chambers as usual, barefoot and wrapped in a black silk cloak. Ao waited 5 heartbeats, then followed her, silently. She watched as the queen descended the spiral stairs beneath the palace floor, a hidden path known only to the royal bloodline. What Ao saw in the mirror room chilled her to the bone. The walls were covered in reflective obsidian. And at the center stood a single, silver-framed mirror. But it showed not the queen's reflection, it showed another version of her, twisted, crueler, more powerful. This other Abeni grinned, her eyes glowing with red light. Then Ao heard the voice. Soon, you will give me control. You grow weaker each night you return. Let me take what is mine. Abeni clenched her fists and shouted at the mirror. You are not me. You are nothing. I will never let you out. Ao stumbled backward, gasping. The queen turned and saw her. Ao. Her voice cracked like thunder. You disobeyed me. From that night forward, Queen Abeni changed. Her anger was sharper, her punishments crueler. Servants whispered that she was cursed, possessed, or slowly losing her mind. Only Ao knew the truth. The queen summoned her days later, eyes hollow. You must swear to tell no one what you saw, she said. If you ever speak of it, your tongue will turn to stone. I swear it, my queen, Ao said, though her heart ached with fear and pity. But the mirror queen, whom Abeni called Ebo, grew stronger. Abeni's nights were filled with screams and shattered glass. And each morning, a new law was passed, more brutal than the last. The people began to fear her. Ao knew something had to be done. In desperation, Ao visited an old forest oracle, deep in the swamps of Araloo. The oracle, an old woman with white dreadlocks and no eyes, welcomed her with a grin. Ah, the girl who serves the Shadow Queen. Please, Ao begged. The queen is changing. There's a mirror, a demon. I don't know how to help her. The oracle dipped her fingers in a pot of black clay and smeared it on Ao's forehead. The mirror doesn't hold a demon. It holds truth, truth the queen tried to bury. That other self is her anger, her pain, her past. The longer she denies it, the more powerful it becomes. Ao shivered. What do I do? You must bring the queen before the mirror during the eclipse. Only then can she face herself and break the bond. But she'll never listen. She will. If you remind her who she was, before the crown, before the throne. The night of the eclipse arrived, red moon bleeding into the skies. Ao waited in the queen's chambers, holding a single item, a carved wooden comb, faded with age. It had once belonged to Queen Abeni's mother. When Abeni entered, draped in black, Ao knelt and held out the comb. I found this, my queen. Queen Abeni stared at it. Her fingers trembled as she took it. My mother used this, when she braided my hair before market days. She said you would rule with heart. You still can. Abeni's eyes welled with tears, but she said nothing. She turned and walked to the secret stairs. And Ao followed. Inside the mirror room, the eclipse's light poured through the open ceiling. The mirror shimmered alive. Ebo stepped out of the glass, full-formed, laughing. I told you, Queen. You are no longer strong enough to keep me caged. But Abeni stepped forward, her voice steady. You are me. And I am you. Ebo stopped laughing. You are my rage, my fear, my shame. But you are not my master. Suddenly, the mirror cracked. Ebo screamed. If you banish me, you lose your power. Your fear makes you strong. No, Abeni whispered. My love makes me stronger. She took Ao's hand. And I am not alone. The mirror exploded into 1,000 shards. Light filled the chamber. Ebo let out one final wail and vanished. The next morning, the kingdom awoke to birdsong. The queen sat in the courtyard, hair braided, no crown on her head. Servants watched in awe as she laughed, truly laughed, for the first time in years. She named Ao the royal hand and advisor. I was lost, Queen Abeni told the court. Lost in shadows I refuse to face. But the greatest rulers are not those who hide their pain, they are the ones brave enough to heal. From that day on, the queen ruled not through fear, but wisdom, compassion, and truth. And behind her, always, stood Ao, the maid who reminded the angry queen of her own heart.